Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the first two episodes that I had with Sam, obviously. It's Championship Hour. Unfortunately, though, Sam could not join me today. He's a little busy as we bring the interview or the podcast. It's all about Pascoe at the moment. But just before I start, obviously, a big shout out to our unofficial sponsor, Coco Bella, Sweet as You, and our proud partners, Joshua Fusco Films, our apparel being designed by akuonline.com, and the designer by KMU, Kuimu. Follow them on Instagram as well. So this is Championship Hour time, and I'm joined here by Erbium Caci and Aiden Caci, known as the Caci Brothers. Boys, this is Championship Hour. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're not feeling nervous.
Never.
Yeah? You sure? All right. Or perhaps if Sam was here, maybe you feel a bit threatened, maybe intimidated.
Not by Sam. No.
They seem a bit well rehearsed. So, for the record, this is all unfiltered. We like to bring the boys in here, the teams, whatever it is. We want to bring you here and then just throw the questions at you. We don't give you questions at hand before you prepare. Now, we want it unfiltered, raw, and that's what Championship Hour is all about. So, just before we obviously get into the meat and the best of all things, Epping Eagles. Epping Eagles.
No, it was
That was
Northern
not
Eagles.
us.
Northern Eagles?
Northern.
Sorry, Northern Eagles.
Yeah.
My bad. Ooh, Northern Eagles, Premier League.
Yeah.
Boys, that's how you started your journey. Tell us about that.
That was the genesis of me and my brothers. That was our starting futsal. Like in terms of owning a team, I've obviously been playing for a couple of years now, but
Yeah.
in terms of actually starting a team, going through it together, that was like our precursor to Pascoe. And look, it was fun. It was a lot of like just having friends around, coming down to play, have a bit of fun. It was an awesome league. That league was so fun to play in, and yeah, it was the sort of the precursor to Pascoe in terms of allowing us to be able to learn the ropes at a much lower level before.
Wait one sec. What's that? Me
Oh,
or
yeah. No, me.
Can I put a bit lower?
Yeah, I'll
Just a little bit lower. And then we'll do the intro, then I'll put a graphic over the top.
No worries.
Championship over.
No worries.
All right, so we'll start again.
Yeah, just
All right.
go
Start again.
from the top.
All right.
Question. Sorry about that.
That's
No
all right.
No,
worries at all.
all right. We'll start again.
Maybe.
Now I know I'm not gonna make a mistake. All right. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Championship Hour. I believe this is going to be our episode 3 or 4. I don't know how the format is going to be, but this is going to be probably our third one. I hope you enjoyed the first two that we had with myself and Samuel Masters as my partner here. We've got the Caci Brothers in. It's going to be an interesting podcast session here, that's for sure. But just before obviously we start, I just want to give a big shout out to our unofficial sponsors, Coco Bella, straight up coconut water, Sweet as You, and our proud partners, RQ Online. They design our apparel, as you can see on the stream, Championship Hour with Sam and Joe, and obviously the design by the KMU, the man himself, Kuimu, KMU Design. Follow him up on Instagram as well. And this would not be possible without our media partner, Joshua Fusco Films, who is the brain behind the media stuff as well. But I'm joined here by two brothers, two legendary brothers, like the McDonald's story. It is Erbium Caci and Aiden Caci, known as the Caci Brothers. These guys are here Monday to Sunday, frothing it up. And today, this podcast is all about them. Boys, welcome to the podcast. How are we doing?
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having us, man. Yeah, we're doing good. Can't
Yeah?
complain.
Nervous?
Not at all.
Never,
Intimidated?
never, Joe.
Never.
Aiden?
Never,
Nervous? No? Well, look, Erbium, obviously, we know that you played around Carlton, I believe.
Yeah, first at Vic Friendship and then Carlton.
Big Friendship and Carlton. But who cares about that? We want to talk about you boys now. Your official journey into futsal with Futsal Laws started with Premier League, then Premier League, Northern Eagles.
Yeah.
I remember the Albanian flag. I remember the Albanian flags a bit flying around here. Boys, how did that come about?
Well, we always have been playing soccer, futsal, like our whole lives growing up, in terms of playing social leagues all over the place, and here obviously the last couple of years. And so we decided to put a team in when we heard that the Premier League was starting. Just a couple mates, wanted to have fun, wanted to maybe step up the level from social league. And man, that was so fun. That league was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to play in. And then that was sort of like the precursor to Pascoe Vale in terms of getting our journey started, running a club and getting to know all that sort of side of things. So yeah.
I think that was what I think was known, the improved version of social league back in the days. How about your experience, Aiden?
It was fun getting all the boys together. It was a nice little journey getting up there, playing against not just with our friends together, but other opponents, knowing the other boys, playing against our mates. It's a fun experience.
Yeah. I think Premier League was actually very tough because I remember the likes of St. George Bulls, Raptors being in there, all of them. Crescent as well. Those were some crazy teams, yeah?
I mean, to look where so many of those teams got their start in Premier League and to where they are now. I mean, St. George have done some great things. Crescent have been rising since then every season to get to championship where we are now. I mean, from that league to see what those teams have gone and done, Raptors as well. I mean, it's awesome. It was great. It was great.
I think the reason why we are here now is about to start. Pascoe, I believe 2023. Last year was when the ever powerful Futsal house, the powerful team to ever grace this arena, the powerful name in Series Futsal arena was put up on sale, right? It was put up on sale and you boys saw it. Just before I go on, what was the discussion when you boys saw that Pascoe was on sale?
Well, I'm pretty lucky to know a lot of the people who have played and worked at Pascoe Vale for a long time now. The main one being Maurizio. Maurizio came to play a game for Northern Eagles with us in the Premier League.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And after that game, we were sitting in the back getting changed, and he was talking. And that was obviously the season where Pascoe Vale were going through their problems. It was their final season in series, and he made mention that the previous owner Paul was looking to step away from futsal, and I thought nothing of it initially. And I spoke to my brother. I'm like, hey, just Maurizio told me, like, isn't that crazy? And he goes, well, why don't we take it over? And I said, what are you talking about, man? Like, let's just focus on Northern Eagles and Premier League, this and that. And he goes, nah, man, let's do it. This is what we've wanted. That's what we wanted to do with Northern Eagles. But I mean, with an opportunity like that, how can you pass it by? And from there, we got to talking with Maurizio, who helped us out a lot, with Paul, and the rest is history.
Oh, the guy says the rest is history. Hayden, one thing that you probably don't know, but I remember your brother messaging me, telling me, oh, my brother is away, he's not in the country, but he keeps calling me, asking about Pascoe. He's talking about Pascoe. He's excited. The energy is there. Whoa. What was it going through your mind when you knew you were going to get Pascoe or when it was up for sale?
The energies were high. Yeah. Obviously, big jump going from Premier League at the point, which was, I think, the 6th league in the system.
Yeah.
So then obviously jumping up to not just a team in the 2nd division, but a team as big as Pascoe Vale. It was fun. I was happy. I just wanted to get involved straight away, not worry too much about so much of the problems that could have come with it, but just the ups, everything.
Yeah, and obviously, just like any other club, I'm sure you do face challenges, but documents are signed. Pascoe ownership has been transferred to the Caci brothers. What now from there? What was the plan?
Well, we knew that Pascoe Vale were not in the position that they needed to be in. Obviously a team that, I mean, you mentioned it at the start, with as much history, as much legacy as Pascoe Vale, there shouldn't be a team ever struggling at the bottom of Series Futsal, let alone getting relegated to championship and then obviously from there. But our aim was to stabilise the club, because it was from a couple seasons before then, you could tell that, things weren't all smooth sailing. So we wanted to stabilise the club, get it to a place where we can build that foundation and go from there. Obviously, it took us a while to get to grips with that, but I think if you look at what we've done now, we're getting to that place. Obviously, with as much as we've done, we've barely done anything yet. So, obviously, this season has shown that we are ready to make that next step. Once we get there, and we see where it goes.
Eddie,
Said everything.
you said everything?
Not much
Yeah,
else to add to
well,
it.
look. Okay, all right. We're going to get into it, right? We're going to get into the meat of things. I remember there was an article that came up about the Caci brothers' dreams and visions for the club.
Yeah.
Now, I know, obviously, it's still a bit new because you've had the club for a year, just a year and a half or
Yeah,
something.
year and a half.
And I'm sure you guys still have that plans. But at the time when the article came up, I remember reading it and it was sort of sweet. It was very sweet, it was sweet like me. Or should I say sweet as Coco Vela. I remember the boys, in the article saying, we want to take Pascoe from here to here. And not only Pascoe, man, we want to bring in the youth. We want to bring in the women. We had a taste of the youth, obviously in the first season. And the following season, they dropped. Talk to us, talk through, let us walk us through this whole youth idea and why it failed. Was it because of the league? Was it about commitment? What was going on?
There's a lot of different factors. First things first, people who run clubs know that it's no easy feat to run one club or run one team, let alone you add a youth, an under 21s, and then a women's, which we started as well, and obviously we had to give that up. That's what happened with that. But in terms of the youth, like you're mentioning, there are different factors. Like you said, the league, it's a struggle to find players who are under 21 who are going to commit to you on a Saturday night, and then that's taking resources away from the men's team as well, because you have to spread yourself amongst a lot of different areas. For a team where we were at the time sort of struggling to meet the expectations of what we expected in championship, in the end we decided it'll be best to leave that for now. It's obviously something we wanted to get back to and we have since done, but to focus on the men's side and make sure that that's in a good place before we can start worrying about a youth team, a women's team, a junior program. We wanted to walk before we could run, basically.
Yeah. I would actually come to you on this one. The Women's League. Obviously, following up on that, I think, trying to remember which club it was. I think that was when Amazon folded, and we're like, we need another club to fill in. And I remember coming to you and I'm like, boys, I know you wanted to bring in a women's team. You want Pascoe to be known not just for having men's team, and you bought into the idea. I believe you played only 2 games.
2 games.
And I think your brother touched on a bit of the reason why it dropped off. But what happened with the women's? I think everyone really wants to know, because you started very energetically. You were excited. You bought into it. You brought in the players. The jerseys were there. But then after 2 games, it dropped off.
I think it was a bit more of a same thing as, like Albin said, a lot of running, trying straight away to get into things. It was better of an idea for us to take a little step back, and from that step back, take 2 steps forward. And then from that, in the near future, hopefully, we're looking to start it up again, get it all going well, and from there just try to go up and up and up.
But do it properly this time. That's
This time.
that's the key.
Yeah. So I've got a few more questions that obviously I'll be bringing. But speaking about doing it properly, when you go through such challenges, you learn from it. What are some of the lessons that you guys have been able to learn so far from that?
I think squad building is something that seems obvious, but actually structuring your team to be able to succeed is something that's really difficult, because there are good players, there are fantastic players all over the place, but getting the right people in the club at all levels, not just players, but everyone involved, getting the right people in is really, really difficult. And that's something that we learnt straight away was, I know this and this person, they're going to come play for me, but are they going to be able to help us to get to where we need to go? As good as they can be, maybe they're not the right people for you at that time. And so learning that there is a time and place for people and that there is the right people to bring in at the right times was something that we had to learn pretty quickly, because you remember how that first season in Championship went.
Talk about that. Don't jump ship. I'll talk about that.
There was a lot of turnover in terms of people coming in and out, and so that I think is something that's underrated, that people don't necessarily get right immediately, and it costs them long terms in all other aspects of running the team. I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah, it is. It is. Look, obviously I run the league as the elite commissioner, and I agree. Look, it's very hard when, especially you don't have the support around you, people with like-minded to be able to. And I'm very fortunate in my case, because I've got media team, I've got these people, I've got door securities that are all coming in with ideas and helping me out. But obviously, I would have to own a club to be able to see what obviously goes through. So I'm glad you guys have gotten a bit of lessons from it. Before I go into the next question, I'll give you this time, a minute or so. For those that do not know Pascoe, I did mention from the beginning, Pascoe is one of the biggest clubs in series Futsal world. In your opinion, what is Pascoe? Who is Pascoe? Obviously, they were created in 2009. You
2005.
mentioned 2005. Tell us about Pascoe. This is your moment.
Pascoe, I mean, historically, are the most successful team that's ever played here. When you look at the stuff that Fitzroy are doing right now, Pascoe were the team doing that 10 years ago or so. Just league after league after league, dominating and stuff like that. The players that have come in are players that entertain. Like, they've always been the sort of club that you love to watch, whether it's people like Andre Caro, Joao da Silva, Sofiane Soufi. Those are the kind of people that you look at as some of the greats to have played here, and they're all people that have come through Pascoe. So in recent times, well, when we've taken over, we're sort of bringing that back. I like to think so anyway, a little bit, when you see the players who are playing for us now. A lot of them are crossover from back in those days to now, but then some of the new people that we've brought in, like Mateus, who, I mean, if you watch the games, that guy just tears it up week after week. And so it's a team that, no matter if you love us or you hate us, you will always be watching. That's Pascoe.
Comparing it to Pascoe of old, obviously we weren't around those times, but I like to think that we want to build a family first. Not just worry too much about straight away, like we did in the first season, rushing in, this, that. Just take a step back, focus on what we're doing, our goals, but at the final stage, be together as one.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the current championship league, I think Metro is almost going through the same thing. People assume when you buy a club, it's very easy, right? And I think the Elite League has gone from being the normal league to now being super challenging, where when you come onto it, you need to come with the right mindset. And about Metro, obviously what they've gone through, that leads me to my next question. Pascoe have just been relegated from Series Futsal Victoria 2023.1 season. They're playing in Championship. The Caci brothers have bought the club. Everyone expecting big things. It is Pascoe, after all, that we're talking about. They should be able to run through Championship team. They should be able to win. It is Pascoe. But what happened? They got relegated to League One. Boys, I think everyone deserves to know what was going through at that moment. Was it the transition period, or was it that the fact that you were unable to really keep hold of consistent players? What was going on? Because you tried to bring some boys from Northern Eagles.
Yeah, well, I think you touched on it there. That transition period. We had basically no time from when we got the club to starting the season. And a lot of the players from that last season in series from Pascoe obviously moved on. I think we had 2 or 3 people, but then other than that, no team, not really having any idea, not to say not to have any idea, but being new to it, learning it all on the spot as we were going. It was very challenging, and we thought maybe a bit naively that we could just get by on the fact that we had people that were just going to come every week, play for us, win games, run through championship, and like you said, get back to it. Obviously, we figured out pretty quickly that it wasn't going to be that easy. And then at that time as well, I think championship was very underrated in terms of the quality. There was a lot of good teams.
Yeah.
The league was actually very even that season, if you remember. And in the end, I think our inexperience cost us. It went down to the final day, but yeah, like you said, in the end we got relegated, which obviously sucked. It wasn't our plan, obviously.
Yeah.
We wanted to go back up, but lessons were learnt. And getting relegated, I think you will hear us saying it to many people. It was probably the best thing to happen to us, because it taught us, hey, like, this isn't going to be smooth sailing. This isn't easy. But when you have people who are committed, as me and my brother are, getting the right people like Maurizio, Lucas Vaz, who was with us from that first season, getting on board with the project, understanding what we're trying to do, and buying into it, you saw the evolution of us, me and my brother, as we were playing, as we were getting along. Obviously, we get through State League 1, and we go from there. So, like you said, lessons learned. We learned very quickly what not to do, and obviously, in the end, that cost us relegation, but what it gave us was the knowledge to say, hey, look, this is what not to do, this is what to do, and then it goes from there.
Wow. You have to really fail to be able to get a success, really.
Absolutely, man.
It's all a learning curve. Before we talk about the team you had in League One, right? That team, we'll talk about it, but Aiden, was there any worries or any negative mindset with you guys when you got relegated? Were you thinking, oh boy, this is it? Is this possibly the fall of Pascoe?
No, that thought never came through our head, but like Albion said, and even you said, it was a stage where we had to regroup and get like-minded people that wanted to come along with us on the journey, come along with us to help us, not just come back up, but obviously in the long run. I think it was a bit more of a take one step back, take 2 steps forward. Find those like-minded people that would be along with us, and just, it was not necessarily negative, but gave us definitely a bit of a push down to what needs to be happening.
All right, here we are back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women. I hope I've addressed all the genders. This is Championship Hour with Sam and Joe. Unfortunately, again, Sam is not here, so it's myself taking on the Caci brothers of Pascoe. A big shout out again to our unofficial sponsors, Coco Bella, straight up coconut water juice, sweet as you, and our proud partners, our apparel or clothes being designed by KMU Design, the man himself, Kubimu, and obviously printed by Aki Online, who are currently running a DIY basketball. I'm not sure if it will still be there by the time this episode releases, but that's Aki Online, team jerseys, casual jerseys, whatever you want, they are the people to go to. So boys, once again, welcome back. We've heard a bit of insight about why you bought Pascoe. I think we're at the point where we want to talk about League One. The mighty Pascoe has gone from State League Series 4-2, State League Championship, and now playing with League One. Now, at any point at all, did you think you've disappointed some of the greats? You're looking at Andre Caro, Gerard da Silva, some of the boys that have played. Did you at any point think you've disappointed the club or anything at all?
It's an easy thought to go into your mind, it's very easy to look at a situation like that and go, man, like how can Pascoe Vale be like this? How could we do this with Pascoe Vale and stuff like that? But the reality of the situation is, Joe, there are so many different circumstances and reasons why things happen. It was really unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it's just something that we had to deal with. It wasn't great. We wouldn't have wanted it to be that. We wouldn't have wanted to get relegated to be playing State League 1. But it was just another challenge for us to face, and a unique one. Something that obviously a lot of players, myself included, hadn't experienced up till that point, playing in State League 1. But in terms of disappointing people, no, not really, because at the end of the day, me and my brother are doing it not to impress other people or to help other people, but we're doing it for ourselves. And when we know that we're on the right track, doesn't matter the obstacles that get in our way, it's just stuff to overcome at the end of the day.
So before I ask you a question about the league in itself, just remind me, because I know, but remind the audience, the players, the type of players you had playing in League One. Because at one point I'm like, how the heck are these boys how did they even buy into the idea? How did it come down so bad that they had to play League One? And no offense to the League One team, but we're talking about some of the greats in the league.
Well, a lot of the team is actually pretty similar to the team now, plus a couple people. But yeah, players like Lucas Vaz, Alison Lima, Maurizio Novak, started off with us, Andres Delgado, and then later on through the season, people like Gerardo Soto, Joaquin Jimenez, Mateus, who was new to futsal, but obviously had a lot of experience playing professionally overseas, joined. And I mean, yeah, look, it was a pretty strong team to play State League 1. But the boys came for a reason. It wasn't just the allure of Pascoe Vale, this and that. Me and my brother had a plan. We had a project in place. And when players see a project and they see the belief that the owners of the club have in that project, and especially to have yourself attached to Pascoe Vale, well, the way that we sold Pascoe Vale to them, which was getting a team who have suffered back-to-back relegations and bringing them right back up to the top, because that's our aim at the end of the day, is to be right back at the top of Series Futsal where Pascoe Vale once was. Once we sold that project to them, obviously players who have that fortitude to say, look, yes, I'm a star, yes, I've been playing series all my career, I've been at the top of the game, but I'm going to be the man to bring Pascoe Vale back. And when you assemble a team like that, obviously things happen, and as you've seen the last 2 seasons, I think we're on the upwards trajectory.
You did mention earlier on Mauricio was quite an influencing factor. You don't have to answer this question, but a lot of talks, and I think myself, I do joke about it in my commentary for fun. I do say Arab money.
Yeah.
Like Man City, you guys have been bought with some oil money. Is that the case?
Look, it's fine to say that. Obviously, people joke around about that stuff. It doesn't really bother us. At the end of the day, as long as people understand this, that there is money in futsal at every level, from series futsal all the way down, there is money in futsal. The way that we go about how we spend our money, the way that we go about structuring the club, I would say is indicative of how we want to be perceived. People can talk about, oh, we spend this and that, but I think our spending is very reasonable, but more so it's just a factor of the players buy into the project first and foremost, and then money is a secondary factor. But I mean, the teams at the top are spending money, and some of them are getting results, some of them are not. Okay, you can say Pascoe Vale, they spend all this money, this and that, but at the end of the day, to get to where you want to go, you're gonna have to invest in your club and invest in the infrastructure. That includes players, but that also includes off-field stuff. It includes making sure that your team has facilities to train in. It's taking care of the boys, maybe taking them out for dinners and club bonding and stuff like that. If you want to be successful, you have to treat the club like a business, and that's what me and my brother do. Because, I mean, we have business outside of futsal that we do, and we bring that mentality into futsal as well. So you can joke about oil money and Saudi Arabia and this and that, but I think what you're going to see in the future becoming a lot more common are teams that in the lower levels start spending money in order to bring their way up, because at the end of the day, once one team starts, which has been the case now for a while, other teams will follow to get there. And so what we're just doing is bringing a level of professionalism to the team to where we get to where we want to go, which is at the top of series. And the teams at the top of series are spending money. And so for us to be able to compete at that level, we've got to do the same. But it's just about how to spend it and being smart with it, which I think we're doing so far.
All right, well, thank you, boys. For now, we'll hold it here for now. We'll come back for the part 2. Yeah, well, guys, again, we're getting insights with Pascoe. This is what we plan to do with Championship Hour. It's all about empowering clubs and players. So we'll get back and we'll bring back the part 2 of Pascoe, the rise of Pascoe from League One into Championship and possible Series Futsal. This is Championship Hour with Sam and Joe. Thank you.